So in this video, we're going to be looking at how to perform few shot prompting in LangChain. Few shot prompting. Now, if you're familiar with prompting, different types of prompting strategies, few shot prompting allows you to add examples to your prompts. Examples, and that is the first, I think that's the most basic specialized type of prompting, from just you typing your prompt directly into your chatbot or sending it to a model without any type of structure. When structure starts to enter your prompting, the first basic strategy you can use is to add examples to your prompt. Now, what is the importance of adding examples to your prompt? Models love examples. Yeah, models love examples. Examples guide models on how to behave. And one of the issues, or one of the challenges with models, with language models, is that they are non-deterministic. And in programming, we don't like non-determinism. Non-determinism would add more bugs to the code. So to introduce structure to how your response is produced, you want to add examples. You want to add examples to your prompt. You want to tell the model, yeah, respond this way. Give me the answer this way. Use this structure. Use a table. Do it this way. Then you say, okay, just like this and like this. For example, if I ask you this, reply me this way. If I ask you this question, reply me this way. And the quality of your examples and the number of your examples is going to help the model to perform better. Even though best practice informs that you don't overload your models with too much examples. Don't start having like 100 examples. No, when you load it with too much information, it's either you exceed the context window or you fill it up in a way that the model gets really confused. So you want to work with probably 5, 4, 3. Just make sure that you pick the best cases of examples to send to the model to get your desired response. So in this video, we're going to be looking at how to use a special class in LangChain, a prompt class or a prompt template class called few shot prompt template. We're going to see how we can use it to construct a prompt template that takes in examples and sends it along with the prompt. So let's begin. First, we're going to be looking at the steps we're going to be taking. I love steps. I believe that once you know the steps to achieve something, it's easy for you to achieve it. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to create a simple prompt that structures the example. We're going to create a simple prompt that gives structure to the example. The prompt that says, okay, if I ask you this question, reply me with this answer. If I give you this question, reply me with this answer. And that can be simple or as complicated as they come. So based on your use case, you construct this this question answer example set with a prompt template. Here we are using string prompt templates, but in the video that follows this, we're going to look at how to implement this using a chat prompt template. So you construct this template, which is kind of like an example formatter. It just formats your examples. So once you have that, you then create a list of prompt response dictionaries. Create a list of prompt response dictionaries. So in your prompt template that gives the structure, your input and your outputs are going to come in as dynamic variables. They're going to come in as dynamic variables. So once you have that structure, you then create a dictionary of inputs and outputs, of various inputs and outputs. So you create that. You will then bring in the few shot prompt template. You bring in the few shot prompt template. It's also from the LangChain core library, the prompt module. You bring in few shot prompt templates and you pass in your example formatter. That is the template you created to format your examples. You pass it in. You also pass in your list of examples. After you do that, this few shot prompt template class contains a parameter called suffix, which is the actual prompt you want to send to the model. So after you've given it the examples, you then use the suffix to say, okay, this is the question I actually want to ask. So based on these examples, answer this question. And you invoke it. And it will generate your prompt. But these things are more understandable when we look at it in code. So let us write some code. I'm going to create a new file, few shot template.py, so that just matches the MD file. Like I said, I think I've mentioned it in this module already, that you can, there's a link to this repo. There's a link to this repo in the course itself, in the course materials, so you can always have access to this code and use it to compare yours. So let us begin with our few shot template construction. So the first thing we're going to do to begin is to say from LangChain core From the prompts module, give us prompt templates, which we're going to need to create that example formatter. And we also need few short prompt templates. Okay. So this is the prompt template class that we're going to use to create our example formatter, and this is the one that creates our actual few short prompt template. So we get that. Now let us create our example formatter. So we're going to say example formatter, or you can call it example template. This will just be prompt template. We call the from template class, or from template method rather, and we give it our template. Give it our template as a string. This will just be simple. I'll just have it say question this, answer this. That's all. The question is going to come in as an input, and the answer is also going to come in as a dynamic input. So we're going to say question, and for that question, we're going to take a dynamic variable called question. Then I'm just going to go to a new line and just have the answer on the new line with a dynamic variable. Yeah. So question, answer. Question at the top comes in as a dynamic variable, then the answer below. So this is our example formatter. It will take a dictionary of question and answer and just format them into a question answer example. So that's cool. Next, we need our lists. We need our list of examples. I've already built that so that you don't have to watch me type it all over. So I'm just going to paste it in. So we have our example set coming. As you can see, like I said, is a list, and each dictionary in the list contains a question and the answer. Just similar to the same with the dynamic variables that we have here. It has to match. Because the few short prompt template is going to take these two in and substitute the values from the example set into the formatter. So you have the question and answer. So these dictionaries consist of questions and answers. Question, answer, properties for each dictionary. So here we say, tell me about the US. Now, if you tell the model, tell me about the US, it can just go on and on. But let's say we just need it. We need the response this way. Just tell me the continent, tell me the president, and tell me the language that is spoken in the country. The continent, the president, and the language being spoken in the country. So we've given it 3 examples. We also ask about Spain. Say, tell me about Spain. We use the same structure. We say, tell me about Portugal. We use the same structure. For Spain, we add prime minister instead of president, so it will know to actually make that change. So just in case we ask for a country where it's a prime minister instead of a president, or even a king instead of a democratic ruler, it can just know how to substitute it in. So we have our example set. So that's step 2. We look at it. Step 1 is creating our prompt formatter. Then we create our list of prompt response dictionaries. Now, step 3 is using our few short prompt template from LangChain prompts to actually set up the few short prompt templates. And it will take in our formatter, it will take in our list of examples, and then we get to use our suffix parameter to send our actual prompt. So let's create a new instance of the few short prompt template. So here we'll say few short prompt template. We get our few short prompt template class. And we start passing in our properties. The first is our example prompt. Which we'll just set to our example formatter. Let me just do copy and paste so that I spell them correctly. So it takes example prompt, which we'll set to our example formatter. Then it takes examples, takes another property called examples, which we'll set to our example set variable. And finally, we have a suffix, which will be for the actual prompt. It will be for the actual prompt. So I can then tell it, I can just say, tell me about Egypt. Tell me about Egypt. It's not one of the countries that we have here, so that works fine, so that we don't duplicate an example. So we now have our few short prompt template. We have our few short prompt template. Example prompt is our example formatter. The example is our example set, and the suffix is tell me about Egypt, which is the actual prompt I want to ask it. But we can, instead of just saying tell me about Egypt, make this dynamic. Make this dynamic, because that is the actual power of prompt template. So instead of just saying tell me about Egypt, we can say country. Say country. Hope we've not used that. Okay, yeah, we can say country. So we then use our suffix, and this is where we can ask our actual question. We can ask our actual question, and to help ensure that we are strictly following our examples, it will be good to take this format that says question colon and the dynamic question variable. So we also input our prompt as that. It's a question, and let's just say user query. So the user can query and say, okay, tell me about Egypt, tell me about North Korea, tell me about Argentina. So we have our few short prompt template, and now let us invoke it. Let's invoke it. Let's say invoked template. Invoked template equals it will be few short. Let me just copy it. Long few short template dot invoke, and we know that it expects this user query parameter. So let us just put that in, and here we can say tell me about Egypt. Tell me about Egypt. And it doesn't have to always be tell me about this, tell me about that. Like it has to be like an inquiry about a country. For example, I can say, who built the Great Wall of China? Wall of China. And it can try its best to get me the continent of where that was built, the president, whoever was the leader when it was built, and the language that was spoken there. So it can models are that smart. Models are that smart to kind of figure out what you're trying to say. Their main target is to give you an answer that follows this specified format. So let's print this invoked template and see what we get. Let's print this invoked template. Save this. Going to pull up the command line, clear it up. Now let's say Python few short prompting .py. I think I spelled that correctly. Python few short prompting.py. Let's hope we don't get any errors. Hit enter. Okay, we have an error. There's no file. Few short templates. Few short templates. I thought I named that exactly with the name of the markdown file, but apparently I didn't. So few short templates, and yes, we get our results back. And just clear this and run it again. We have results from the previous runs. Okay, so we have text, question, tell me about the US. Those are our examples. Tell me about Spain. Then finally, the question that we want to actually ask, who built the Great Wall of China? Who built the Great Wall of China? And it will actually try to answer based on the example answer we're given. It will try to give the answer in this format: the continent, the ruler, and the language spoken in the country where the event happened. So yeah, that's a few short prompt template. That's how to create a few short prompt templates. We can also get the textual representation of the output. Invoke template. You can say .text. Yeah, I believe it should be this way. .text. Let me clear this. And let's run that again. Few short template.py. And yeah, this is much clearer than what we had before from the invoke template. Say question, tell me about the US. It gives us, these are our examples. Tell me about Spain, tell me about Portugal, and our actual prompt, our actual question, which is who built the Great Wall of China. And yeah, that's how each example is arranged, and then we have our actual prompt after. So yeah, that's how you do few shorting in LangChain.